So let's resume our learning. We're in the middle of section Daled in Halacha Gimel on Shabbos, Likutei Halachos, and it says like this: Nimsa shekol alamet tes malachas zikdusha shehem bechinas tal oros. So we find that all the 39 types of work that are in holiness, which are the aspects of the 39 oros, the 39 lights, tal, the dew of lights, bechinas meleches mishkan, which is the aspect of the work that is done to build the tabernacle. They received their actual livelihood, their own vitality. The works that are done in building the Beis Hamikdash and the drawing forth of these 39 types of light are given their vitality from the fact from the fact that we stop doing these 39 types of work on Shabbos. Which, as we said in the previous lesson, was from the illuminating of our experience of desire and longing for closeness to Hashem. And that's the aspect of that particular experience, which is experienced specifically on Shabbos. And that's why it says in the building of the Mishkan, it says Hukam HaMishkan, that the Mishkan became became assembled. Actually, not really the translation. Hukam is to be upheld, or to. I'm sorry, I can't derive the word, but the idea of that the Mishkan became together, or lahakim is to bring together, to cause to establish. The Mishkan became established on its own. Hukam Mishkan, teasem menorah, and the menorah. That says teasem menorah. You shall make the menorah. I'm sorry. The menorah is also made on its own. The menorah came to be on its own. And things like that. Because what was happening? Why does it use the passive form that the Mishkan came together on its own? That the menorah became made on its own? Because these things happened in a miraculous way on their own. As we said, that and this is what our sages say, and it's brought in the Zohar, and so it says, that all the work activity of building the Mishkan, the tabernacle, and all of its parts came together in a miraculous way on its own. That the people that were doing it had intent to do it, and through this aspect of intent, this is what happened. So through their intention, that brought it was like you think of something and it happens. That's what happened. They would think of the work and it would be done. And that's why also this all the communications that are done on the building of the tabernacle are communicated in a language of longing and giving over of the heart, heartfelt giving, the divut lev. Everything that his spirit would cause him to want to donate, and everything that his heart would lift him up to do, to go to towards all the work that was to do it. And there's a lot of instances of this type of communication. In other words, the entire communication, every time that it's discussing about doing the work of the Mishkan, it talks about it in the terms of everything that they came to with their desire. So in other words, what they're saying is that they desired that the Mishkan should be built, they desired that a certain work should be done, and it was done. It was lasot, to do. It became done. Because all the work that was done is the aspect of the giving in the heart and the lifting of the spirit, which is the aspect of the longing to long for Hashem. And through this, the work became, all the building, putting together of the Mishkan happened on its own in a miraculous way. Just by illuminating the longing, creating this, we said in the previous lesson that the word ratzon, desire, longing, is the same letters as tzinor, a pipeline. And when we experience longing for Hashem, we make a pipeline to draw down the infinite light. And in this case, that drawing down of the infinite light caused the activity of the building, the putting together of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle, and all its parts. Because all of the 39 activities of work that caused this came about through nullifying the 39 work that Shabbos, that happens by putting aside that creative power on Shabbat to not do those 39 type of work, by our putting aside, but they're putting aside in that time their ability to do that work and saying we're not going to, making bitul, making a nullification of that created the space to illuminate the power of those 39 types of works to actually happen in the world when it wasn't Shabbos. And just like in that same idea, we need to do all the 39 types of work and business transactions during the 6 days of the week. Which is the aspect of the illumination of longing, that we draw on Shabbos. We spoke about in a different time that the main thing about the meals of Shabbat, that when we're eating, the main thing we want to be experiencing is a sense of longing, a sense of yearning for closeness to Hashem, a sense of the yearning for the experience of the bliss that we experience, that one experiences when they have a closeness with Hashem. So that bliss, or I should say that longing for that bliss, it draws into the 6 days of the week and illuminates that experience and that possibility for that experience during the 6 days of the week. As it says in the Sefer Devarim, and the work of his hands shall be longed for, shall be desirous. That you need to draw an illumination of longing to the hands. That and that's another thing that's done when we make a netilat yadayim and we raise our hands. What we want to do is have an awareness that we're raising our hands, and we're also with that raising our hearts and longing and yearning for closeness. That our hands should be able to do holy work in the world. So we draw that. So this drawing the illumination of longing to the hands, which are the vessels for doing of the 39 types of work, the Likutei Halachos. And through the next part of this passage, the verse says, when it says Upal Yadav Tirtzeh, that the work of his hands is desired, Barech Hashem Chelo, that Hashem blesses his soul, his chel, his army, his soldier. Because the main bracha is coming from this illumination of longing. That from that place causes parnasa. So we're understanding the power of holding an experience in the heart. We're not used to that so much in the world. We don't really think about it. But if you really pay attention, what's the most powerful experience that a person has? When their heart is opened by something. And that is the same thing with with any type of spiritual activity that gets transformed into drawing any type of ability to complete a task in this world, comes from the opening of the heart, the experience of the heart, the experience of this place causes the ratzon, this desire, transforms into tzinor, into a pipeline, and brings down the power to the ability to actually perform in the world. And in this way, all the work of the 6 days of the week actually happens on its own. And that's what does that mean? We talked about it previously, that emunah, it doesn't look like it happens on its own. It doesn't look like that the work of our and forgive I'm having a little trouble with my lighting, if you might have noticed that the lights are illuminating and then dimming. So that's what we're talking about, the illumination of the ratzon, which we get, and then it dims, and then it comes on, and sometimes we can choose when it's going to happen, and sometimes it comes upon us. But But then, so the idea is that we're supposed to believe and have emunah that what we do on Shabbat draws the livelihood, draws the vitality to all our activities in the week, which enables us to have parnasah, which enables us to have our livelihood. And again, that's why it's called emunah. Emunah is faith. Emunah is beyond what the intellect says, because the intellect says, no, it's because I go to work during the week, and that's what I'm doing, that I make money. And that certainly does look like that. No doubting that, no denying that. But the emunah says, I believe, like our sages are teaching us, that it's my putting aside the work on Shabbat that causes the vitality, and the putting aside of the work is the aspect of experiencing. When we have nullification, we said in an earlier lesson that when we nullify what we're experiencing, when we're experiencing a longing, a state of longing, we're in the experience of nullification, because longing is the experience of putting oneself into the place of what they are looking towards, and they're not aware of themselves, but they're aware of the thing that they want. And so there's a nullification that happens within longing. And when a person is specifically nullifying their activity, their ability to do activity, then the experience of ratzon, the experience of longing, becomes illuminated, and that draws that power into the 6 days of the week, into the livelihood. And then from that place, from that bitul, from that drawing the holy light into the work of the holy light of Shabbat into the work of the week, then what happens is then all of the work is actually happening on its own, even though it can't be told, it doesn't look like that to our eyes, but this becomes the aspect of holy work, the aspect of the building of the temple, of the tabernacle. So it says that there's 6 days te'aseh malacha. It doesn't say ta'aseh, which would be you shall do, but rather it says te'aseh, malacha shall be done. Uviyom hashvi Shabbos, and the 7th day of Shabbos, specifically that passive form for malacha, that malacha shall be done. Ki al yedei Shabbos zochin shetia malacha neses me'aleha. Because through Shabbos we merit that the work of the week actually happens on its own. Ki ikar kiyum shel kol shesh yisemei ha'maseh hu al yedei Shabbos. Because the main again, I can't think of the word kiyum here. Establishment or foundation of the main ability of the existence. That's it. The main ability of the existence of the 6 days of the week comes through Shabbos. The main existence that the 6 days of the week have, the fact that there is a 6 days of the week, comes because of the power of Shabbos. Dahainu al yedei hashvita v'menucha shel Shabbos. Specifically, through our putting our shvita, Shabbat comes from lishbot, to sit, from the same word as leshevet, to sit and to put aside our doings. V'menucha, and the resting on Shabbos. Al yedei zeh ikar chiyus v'shefa kiyum shel kol sheish ma'aseh. Through that comes the main vitality and the main flow of light and existence into the 6 days of the week. K'mo shekasuv vayechal Elokim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa v'chulei. And it says in Breshit, in the end of the description of the creation, it says, and Hashem ceased on the 7th day his malacha that he did. And our sages said about this, what does it mean that he did? Ma haya haolam chaser? What was missing at the end of the 6 days? Menucha, rest. Ba Shabbat, ba menucha. Shabbos comes, resting comes. Kalsa v'nigmara hamalacha, and all of the malacha is finished and put aside. It's all, and so we're supposed to understand that whatever we're doing during the week, that's why we don't talk about on Shabbos what we're going to do or what we did as far as what we're going to do in the next week, the work we're going to do. We can talk what we did. We have gratitude for. We completed it. It's finished. Even if the work is not actually done, if you actually have a job that's going to be you need to complete the next week, nevertheless, as far as for this Shabbos, your work is finished. K'moshe Kasuv, as it's written, I'm sorry, by Ki ikar hakiyum hakol malachos asher asa Hashem yisbarach biyachol b'sheish zimei bereshis, because the main existence of all the works that Hashem did, as it were, during the 6 days of the week, during the 6 days of the creation, Hakol hu rak al yedei hamenucha v'shvita shel Shabbos. That all of that, as it were, came only because of the resting and the putting aside of the work that Hashem did on Shabbos. That the fact that Hashem was going to rest on Shabbos was enabled that Hashem created the world, as it were. Vayichal Elokim. That's why it says Vayichal Elokim. Hashem completed. He finished. Vayichal is also a lesson of Ratzon. The word Vayichal is also has a intention of longing to it, as it says in Tehillim, Nichsefa v'gam kalta nafshi. My soul was longing and also yearning, and the word kalta is the same as the word Vayichal. K'moshe Kasuv, and it says also in Shmuel Aleph, Vatechal nefesh David. The soul of David was yearning. Ki ikar kiyum. It's like my soul. I want it so much. I'm gonna die. I want it so much. I can't stand it anymore. That's the idea of Vayichal, means to finish, but it also means like I want it so much. I'm finished. That the main existence of the days of the week is only through the illumination of desire that is illuminated on Shabbos. And in this manner, a person in this type of understanding now, we understand why the person has to finish. That the person needs to do all his work during the business in the 6 days of the week, and that when he's doing that, he has to know and believe that in truth he's not doing anything at all. That everything really is only happening because that Hashem is giving the power that this thing should happen in the world. That Hashem himself warned about this. And as it says in Sefer Devarim, in the book of Deuteronomy, Pen tochal v'sava v'amarta b'lavavecha kochi v'otzam yadi asi le'ad chayal hazeh. He says, lest you're going to eat and you're going to be satisfied and you're going to say in your heart, you're going to say to yourself, my power and what I did, all that hard work I did, gave me all this ability to experience this satisfaction and have all this authority in this world. Because we need to really implant this, especially in our world where the entire world is based on this. And if you watched any television, movies, the entire culture of the Western world is based on this idea. You got to go out, and if you work hard, you'll make money, and you'll be important, and you'll be a success. And so then because that's so profound in the world, and that is the mentality of Esav. Esav is the brother of Yaakov, Esau. Some read, and Esav is from the same word as Asu. It's all done. I did it. It was done. As opposed to what we're saying to believe and to put it into under our awareness and to make ourselves remember that really it's Hashem who's doing it, and that we should not come to think to make a mistake and forget, God forbid, and by saying to ourselves and thinking to ourselves, I did this, that this is what I did, and my activity is what did this, God forbid. That's the aspect of my power and my strength did this. But we know that we always need to remember that it's Hashem, that it's God. As it says right there, right after this, you shall remember the Lord your God, that He is the one who gives you the power to do any activity, any chayil means soldierly, but it's from the word of activity and power in the world, of having some results, some sort of success. Because everything only happens because of the power, the strength of Hashem. And really the work that it looks like we're doing really is just becoming done. As we said, that the word in the verse in the Torah is put in a passive form. The 6 days of the week, malacha shall be done. V'chinas Meleches Mishkan, which is the aspect also, again, of the work of the building of the tabernacle. Ki kol halamed tez malachas, we get the building of the tabernacle, and the light comes on, and now the light goes off. Kol halamed tez malachos na'asin v'nisbarchin rak al yedei Shabbos, and all the 39 types of work are done and blessed only through Shabbos. Sha'azhu bitol kol lametez malachos, that which is the nullification of all the 39 types of work. Al yedei shemakleb li'an as herasa ratzon shemisham kol parnasa, that through receiving in our hearts the illumination of longing, that from that place of longing is drawn the aspect of livelihood, bechinas poseach es yedecha, the aspect of open your hands. And by the way, when we talk about livelihood, we're not necessarily talking about, so somebody might say, well, I keep Shabbos, why don't I have lots of money? No, that we're talking about livelihood as Hashem gives everybody. Hashem opens His hand. You open your hand and you satisfy everything ratzon. Ratzon means several meanings here. It means that Hashem gives from the ratzon, that your desire allows Hashem to give, but it also means that Hashem gives according to everybody's needs. And so if you look at it, so some people say, well, wait a minute, I keep Shabbos and I don't have anything. I don't have any needs. But really, if you pay attention and think what you're getting, that you have what you need in this world. And if you would see why you're getting only what you get and somebody else gets much more material, it's because everybody has different tikkunim, different rectifications that we need to do. And if you were able to see in the entire world, entire universe of spirituality, why your soul needs to do exactly what it is, you'd be very grateful and joyful. So you have to understand that any life, when I say parnasah, it doesn't necessarily mean that it means that the person has tons of money. It means you get what you need. Parnasah means your livelihood. As it says, because as we talk, the hands, when it says poteach et yadecha, the hands are the vessels for doing it of the 39 categories of the types of work in the world. That because it's impossible for the hands to receive the spiritual power of livelihood through the 39 types of work that is done during the week, except through that we receive and we get blessed from their root. And the root of the yadayim is called the yadayim of the yam ha-chokhmah, the sea of wisdom, which is the place. The sea of wisdom is the place where all the ability of our ability to understand and how to figure out how to do something comes from. The spiritual root of that place is called the yam ha-chokhmah, the sea of wisdom. And we said this is the aspect of the receiving of the livelihood comes, and which is the aspect of Hashem open your hand and satisfy everything through ratzon, through longing. And we're going to stop it, take a break at this point, and I bless us that we should be able to understand and believe in that our work is really nothing more and nothing less than Hashem, than God, creating through His desire, God's desire, that the work comes in, that the power to do work comes in the world, and the work is accomplished because of that. And I bless us to be able to believe in that to the point where we can keep Shabbos fully and be able to be at peace, putting aside our activities, and be able to trust and believe that Hashem is truly sending us our livelihood.